it's gonna be a very nice cabin. It's gonna be a really great experience when it's finally done.
This feels like the last couple months of feeling pretty crappy about all of this is finally melting along with the snow. It is February 2023, and for the second episode, I wanted to take you through plan for the cabin, which includes what we wanted out of the cabin and how that contributed to the design process. You might wonder why Kurt is being filmed from the side in the car. This is the only quality time I could get with him during this filming process was on our drive up to the cabin. So yeah, it might not be staged. He may not be looking his business best. It's real life driving up to the cabin when we have 3 hours to actually sit down together and talk things through. So that is why most of this conversation is filmed in the car. I'm filming a lot of the backyard because I'm not going up to the cabin much at the beginning of 2023 just because of the sheer fact of we have an Australian cattle dog who doesn't like being cold and we have a me who doesn't like being cold, and it's exhausting working on the cabin in the winter. September of 2021, we had gone to a friend's cabin up on Lake Superior. And it was really on that trip where we're like, we kind of need to get serious about this and make a list of what we wanted. So we wrote down a list on the way home, put it on a refrigerator. Not knowing that less than 3 months later, actually probably less than 2 months later, we would be buying our property. So it's good to be prepared.
We made a list, right, of things that were criteria before we purchased land, and like, you know, as we're driving up there right now, the first one was the time to get there, right? If your drive is too short, it really doesn't feel like you've gotten away, right? You're only driving 30 minutes and you're at the cabin, unless you're going into the mountains or you really live that close to a wilderness area. Like, it doesn't feel like you've gotten away or it's really changed your scenery or your perspective. On the flip side, like if the drive is too long, you're just not going to go up there that much. You're going to be tired. You're going to burn out with that drive. So our maximum drive was 3 hours. We said it had to be within 3 hours of our home, and also within 3 hours of a major city in case we ever lived part or full time in the cabin.
Which is always great quality time. So I guess that's a bonus of if you have a drive to get to your property is spending time together. You're kind of ready to be each other's audience. You have this focused time together. We should have established by now, if you haven't caught on, biking was huge. We wanted to be on a gravel road, not near a gravel road, on a gravel road.
I think the other thing that was important was there was recreation like right out the front door. Literally, like we wouldn't have to, if we wanted to ride our bikes, if we wanted to ski, if we wanted to take the dogs for a walk, we wouldn't have to drive like a long way to get there, or ideally not at all.
High priority on our list is we had found Rome Adventure Base Camp. We loved it there, and we knew we wanted to bike in that area. Our dream was if we could basically find Rome Base Camp in a cabin.
The other thing is, like in this area where mosquitoes are a real thing, you don't want standing water, like a boggy area or like a little bit of a pond or something on your property, unless you have a thought of how to manage that, because that becomes mosquito breeding grounds and you could really have a problem.
So I am covered head to toe in permethrin. This is absolutely terrifying to me as a kid who grew up in Wisconsin, that I now own this land and I'm going to be spending a lot of time here. So I figured I better figure out how to navigate this. Now, let's go through the design specifications document. One of the most important documents that I created is the design specifications document. I created it actually in Google Slides. Design specifications document elaborated on the list we had initially generated by sitting down together and really thinking through what was important to us in this property. So it really became the master list. One of the funniest parts of our design spec is the initial land plan that we had. It was really just a sketch that we did sitting at the kitchen table, and it's not a Picasso or Mona Lisa or whatever. It's just a hand drawing, and we actually thought it was funny to include in the design specs because you get the sense from this document what we wanted, how we wanted the land to function, And really, we stayed true to this rough sketch to the end. Then we dug a little bit deeper into visuals because I'm a visual communicator, and if you've ever worked with anybody doing anything related to design, visual information is going to be the most important information you can give. And then what we like. So I really wanted to put in this document the design cues we were looking for. Nordic design, Japanese design. We're Gen X, so of course 1970s needs to factor in there somehow. And how do you combine all that? That's been kind of the challenge visually, and as I'm working on the interior design here in 2023. It's Nordic and Japanese design, simple, functional, attractive design, balance, symmetry, blends in with landscape. And then we went into what we were looking for visually. We have the exterior concepting vibe. And we pulled some images of cabins we like. And the funny thing is that I started noticing when we started talking about the siding last year, they're all black on the exterior. And then we moved into the interior concepting vibe, visuals to help the architect understand kind of what we were looking for as far as discussing open concept, focusing on the view, keeping it simple, clean, kind of Nordic feeling on the inside.
And also wanted a larger shower. Like after you've been outside, like exercising, especially in the winter, the ability to stand in a large like shower and take like a nice hot shower and not some kind of cramped little thing is really a treat.
Light, airy, comfortable, focus again on the view and framed views. So the views of the wooded land on our property were very important to us. What did you want when you were designing the cabin? You had thought for years about what you wanted as part of the cabin design. What were the key features of the design that were important to you?
Number one, the big wall of windows. I think that was always like a goal, to have a comfortable place to sit, read, and then have this big wall of windows overlooking the forest or whatever view my cabin would have at some point.
And how awesome this afternoon light is. It's 1 p.m. November 14th or 15th, I can't remember. And it's just streaming in here in a wintry afternoon. And when we get that fireplace in, kind of stoked.
I think a wood stove was also part of it. Really wanted to have that coziness and that other source of warmth.
This is pretty good. This is why we situated the building the way we did. And then at the end of that, we added things we want later, we couldn't afford now, but we would hope to do someday, which would be sauna and garage with maybe a workspace, studio space, bike storage, etc. in it. That is one of the most important documents we created early on in the process to give our architect a cue as to what we wanted. And at the end, we listed the financial plan for the cabin. Kurt had a really good idea of cost of different phases of the project after talking to our realtor for things like the land, we knew, septic, well, pulling the electrical to the property line, clearing the drive and the home prep site preparation, and then what we were willing to spend on the actual building.
One of the big things that you have to do with your cabin is you want to set a budget. Every square foot of your cabin has a price, and that budget really influences the size of your cabin, the materials, that you use and a little bit of like the build quality, to be frank.
I think that's it for the design specification document. This document was so important in passing back and forth to the architect and sharing with other people we were talking to when we were trying to hire GCs or other people to help build the project. It just helped them give a visual understanding of what it was we were looking for and to let them know we were serious about what we wanted to do. I wasn't at core strength class today, but I'm making up for it right now. Okay, so we're in February 2023. Design decisions, again, are affected by logistics and timing. So what you may want to do may end up not working with the timing of when you actually want to sleep in your cabin and partially live in it. Design decisions, logistic decisions, timing decisions, they're all connected.